Hey, welcome back everybody. This is David Pendleton. I'm going to hop on Tour 8, play a little bit more Golf Clash. This video may be a little bit longer than normal, so we'll have some extra holes on it because I have 6 more shots remaining until I'm able to open up this pin chest. So I plan on playing until we open up that chest, and hopefully we have some good luck. I've been undefeated so far while recording my games and posting them to YouTube. It's my first time doing such a thing. I'm really enjoying it. I love playing the game. I love helping other people learn how to play the game and watching them get better. So here we go. We're going to start off with Spear Brittany. This is going to be par 5 on one of the newer courses in the game. This was just in a tournament a few tournaments ago, so I'm pretty familiar with this hole as I play all the tournaments. I've actually won the past 3 tournaments on one of my other accounts that's called Big Daddy. That's in this clan. It's right here. So these are just rookie wins, but I'm getting more familiar with the ring system. I'm getting more familiar with how to use my Golf Clash notebook app. So the plan is to get better, to start to win some professional tournaments, to start to win some expert tournaments, which I'm pretty confident I'll do that here in the near future. Because I've won 3 in a row on rookie. I just had my best finish in professional on this account. So I'm getting closer to getting better in the higher tournaments. Pretty unfortunate shot there for our opponent, especially when you're going to bust out a Kingmaker. And you're going to hear me say this all the time. I never use special balls like a Kingmaker, a Katana, or a Titan in one-on-one play. I use those balls strictly for tournaments only. There's no reason to use a ball like that in one-on-one play unless you desperately need the win, which I don't, because if you understand how to use the rings, if you understand how to really play the game, you don't have to use special balls on any tour until you really get to tour 10. And I don't consider like a Quasar or a Navigator a special ball. I mean, I know they are special balls, but I'm talking about anything Katana and above. You're never going to see me bust out in one-on-one play because very rarely is it ever going to give you an advantage. And I'll talk about that as this recording goes on. You saw me take my drive there. I used the rings. I pulled it back a little bit. I'll give more detail on how to do that. I just kind of got caught talking about, using certain balls. But here's the situation to where we're going to be on the green in 2. Our opponent is going to waste a Kingmaker. They're going to lose that ball, and they're not going to win the game. So this is a shot that is drastically downhill. It's actually going to be considered a 30% downhill shot, which means you would adjust your rings by 30% more than normal, which is what this column right here allows me to do. I put in 30. I put in my wind 5.5 miles an hour. We're at maximum distance of our sniper, so we're going to use that top number, 7 rings. So you always make the wind blow north. You start in the middle of the yellow. That's 1 ring, 2 rings, 3 rings, 4 rings, 5 rings. I think it was 7.6. I don't remember now, but I'm going to go with that. And we're going to shoot this hole. Now, we hit great, so we're more than likely not going to drop it. It was 7 rings, so I over-adjusted a little bit too much, which is why you see me coming in left. I pulled that back 7.6 rings instead of 7. Actually, if I had pulled that at 7, we might have been really close to the albatross there. But regardless, we're more than likely going to get the win on this hole because our opponent is going to have to make this shot. It is a difficult shot to get a drop on. So I think my good luck is going to continue, and we're going to stay undefeated while doing screen recording on my iPad. So I'm going to get my app set up for the next hole, or maybe a shootout, but I'm going to clear all this to zeros until we figure out what our next hole is going to be. And in some of the next holes, I will show you how to find out which one of these numbers you're going to use. I will show you exactly how to count rings, maybe a little bit slower. But all in all, I hope you stick with me, through this video. If you're new to the game, if you're struggling on this tour, you're definitely going to learn some stuff by watching me play and just hearing me talk, even though my voice is annoying. You know, you're definitely going to learn a couple different things about the game and pick up some techniques that you may not know about. This is a simple putt. We're going to win this hole. We're going to have a Quasar knock out a Kingmaker. Just again, proving that you don't need to use a ball like that to win. Now, they didn't hit a good drive, so that made it a little bit harder for them. But still, we'll see if we can get a rematch to keep this thing moving along. You know, I'll play anybody. I can go toe-to-toe with any opponent, regardless of the ball they use. Not everybody can go toe-to-toe against me, though. But they don't want to play again, which is common. So here we go. Back into another game. We'll see what kind of course we get on this one. All right, this is a pretty simple, straightforward par 4. This is a difficult hole to pick up an eagle on, in my opinion. So more than likely, you're going to see my opponent and I go to a shootout, unless one of us makes a really sweet second shot. I prefer going this path. A lot of people go this path. It does shorten up the second shot. I just don't like the second shot play there. So this is going to be a pretty simple drive. We're going to use just a little bit of top spin to push us up a little bit, but we don't need a lot. We're going to put in the miles per hour here. 6.2. We're at max distance of our driver, meaning I can't push my driver up anymore. So I'm at max distance. So I will adjust for the rings because I don't want to roll into the rough. This is just a precision way of making sure my drive goes exactly where my ball guideline was just at. You hit the ball perfect, dead center. I'm going to roll very nicely onto the fairway here. I'm going to stay onto the fairway, which is going to make an easy second shot. You see, had I not pulled back my target there on the drive, I might have rolled into the rough, or I might have, come really close to rolling into the rough. But by pulling it back, it makes it a little bit easier. Now here brings me to another point of using a power 3 ball on a par 4. There is no point to do this. This Titan ball, if you want to purchase this with your gems, it's going to cost you 900 gems to buy 45 of them. I can buy Quasars and Navigators, which is the only ball that I use, 300 gems for 45 balls. So the game is telling you that this ball is 3 times more valuable than the ball that I'm using. This ball on this hole is going to give our opponent 0 advantage on beating me in regulation. And I say that because he and I are about ready to take a very similar shot to the green. Unless one of us makes a really good shot here, we're going to be going to a shootout. And him using a Titan ball is not going to make this shot any easier. It's not going to make the drop any easier for him. Because he doesn't need any extra power. He doesn't need any extra wind resistance. He doesn't need any of that. This is going to be a simple shot. You could have used a basic ball on this hole if you wanted to, and still be going to a shootout. But I wouldn't want to do that because, I don't like taking a basic ball to a shootout in Tour 8. Basic balls, I only stick with Tours 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Once I hit Tour 6, 7, 8, 9, I am sticking with a Quasar or a Navigator. As long as you understand the rings, then you don't need to use any other ball outside of that. Now, I do buy some of the balls that come out that I like, but I only use Katanas, Kingmakers, Titans, and balls I purchase in tournament play. Then I am looking to knock down the wind a little bit. I am looking for an advantage on a long par 5 or a short par 4 where I might be able to bring out a power 5 ball and drive to the green. In a tournament match, I'm not concerned about if I beat my opponent or not. I'm trying to get extra eagles on par 4s, and I'm trying to get albatrosses on par 5s, and I'm trying to dial in hole-in-ones on par 3s. So if I were to take like a wind-resistant 5 and power 1 ball to a par 3 on a tournament, I'm not really doing that to beat my opponent. I'm doing it so I can dial in a hole-in-one. So that's when I use special balls. But just like I said at the beginning of this match, more than likely we were going to go to a shootout, and here we go. Now, it's really important to know the elevation of each shootout hole. And Tour 8, as I hit these shootouts, I can tell you what the elevation of each hole is. I played thousands upon thousands of games in Tour 8, so I'm pretty comfortable with any shootout that we get. There is one hole that really drives me nuts. It's like my nemesis, and hopefully we don't get it. In my first video that I ever streamed, we got it twice. Somehow I won it twice. But, you know, let's see what we get right here. And we're going to see if we can dial in a really close shot by using the rings and using the app. Okay, so this shot is a 20% elevation downhill. That means our ball is traveling downhill, and whatever adjustment we're going to make with our target ball guideline, we need to adjust that more by 20%. So you can see I put the 20% in there. I'm going to wait till it's our turn so I know what mile-per-hour wind we have. And the one thing I know about this hole is we're going to be at max distance of our sniper. That's how I always play it, max distance on this hole. So it's going to be the top number here out of these three numbers. You see our opponent going left on this shot. I don't like going left on this hole at all. I like to go straight for the pin, especially when I have crosswind like this. The only thing that I don't like about this hole is I feel like there's a game glitch, and I'll show you the ball guideline is not stable on this particular shot. It kind of glitches in and out. And so let's see where our opponent goes here. This ball will really travel to the right quite a bit. This is going to be a really good shot from our opponent, and it's going to be pretty difficult to beat. But that's not because he used a Titan. You know, that's just a really good shot. He could have done that with any ball. You see we're getting the same wind, basically. See how that ball guideline is in and out, in and out? I don't like that. I don't know why it does that, but it makes it really hard for me to figure out exactly where I'm going with this shot, and it's really worse than it normally is. So we're going to plug this wind in here, 3.2 miles an hour. That's 3.8 rings. So we go to the center of the yellow. All right, that's 1, 2, 3. I'm going to move it there, and then I'm going to do another .8. Move it right there. Running out of time. Hit it great right. I didn't do a good job on this hole. I had to rush my final adjustment there. So we're going to pick up our first loss. Oh, well. Not too bad. You know, hopefully we don't lose many more. But, you know, I just didn't make a good shot there. And there's something up with that needle, or not the needle, but the ball guideline that really gets on my nerves. See if we can't pick up a rematch. All right, very cool. So we're going to get to go with the opponent again. That's going to speed up the amount of video time that we have to play. This hole right here, another par 5. So a lot of people don't know about this hole is on your drive. You're going to be bouncing from fairway to fairway, but the second fairway actually slopes right to left. So you need to use some right curl on your drive and right side spin to adjust for that. So the wind is 5.9 miles an hour. I don't use any elevation on this drive. So we're going to adjust this 2.8 rings. So we're going to be pulling our target back. Yellow's 1 ring. Got the wind blowing north. 2.8 rings, okay? Now, I'm going to hit this shot, but like I said, I'm going to use right curl, because if I don't, I could easily fall right to left, and you're going to see what I mean here when my ball gets to that second fairway. So 1 hop, 2 hop. Well, that's a terrible shot by me. Too much right curl, but in the end, it's not going to matter because I'm going to get to the green in 2 shots, and unless my opponent makes a great second shot, they will also be to the green in 2 shots. We're going to be putting in for an eagle, and we're going to be going to another shootout. And he's not going to adjust rings. He's going to go max overpower. He's just going to let this ball fly, which is fine. You can definitely do that. But again, you know, it doesn't matter to me where he lands. He could land all the way up here at the beginning of this fairway. I don't think he's going to make this shot because not many people do. So we're going to be playing for the shootout. Even though he hit his drive much better, it's not going to do anything in the end, except just give him an easier chance to get onto the green. But, you know, I'm going to get there too. So there we go. You know, I didn't try to do anything fancy here. I just wanted to get myself out of the rough, get myself to a very simple putt, and that's exactly what we've accomplished. My opponent here is going to do the same thing. He's not going to make this shot. I'm not worried about that. We're going to clear out this app, put everything for zeros. We're going to get ready for the shootout that's going to be coming up. Now he's using full backspin on this shot right here. He's pulling back his target based off feel, not a precise adjustment. I have a feeling that he's going to end up coming up short because of the backspin. I actually went long, but either way, we're going to a shootout, just kind of like I said. You know, that's why I don't mess around with using these power balls on these holes, because, you know, no advantage on winning this particular hole. We're going to a shootout again. I could have went basic ball here. He could have went Titan. We'd be going to a shootout, you know, but I don't want to bring a basic ball to this tour on a shootout, because sometimes I like to use side spin and things like that to get a more precise shot. But it just shows you here, we're taking this opponent to a shootout, 2 holes, a Titan versus a Navigator or a Quasar. He got me last time. Let's see if I can get him this time. And then if so, hopefully we'll get to go best out of 3 and play another hole against one another. Pretty interesting hole. I don't like this one at all, but I'm pretty good at it. It's a 10% elevation hole. That means we're shooting 10% downhill. So we put the 10% there. Our opponent is first. I don't like headwind mixed with crosswind on this hole at all. It would be worse if it was straight headwind. But headwind mixed with crosswind. This is a pretty difficult shot. You know, we're going to see where we end up at, of course. But our opponent gets to go first, which I like, because then I know if I need to gamble or if I just need to be safe. Opponent definitely playing the game based off of feel, not using any type of ring system, you know, which is fine. If you play the game a lot, you can get close based off of playing feel, but you're not going to get as close as someone like me who uses rings. And he hit that one not good at all. And probably lucky he didn't hit perfect, or else he would have actually pushed off even more right than what he did. But let's see what we can do here. You know, definitely max distance of our sniper. To me, this is another hole where the ball guideline just glitches. You know, I'm going to leave it right around there. I'm going to put in 8.5. We're clearly at max distance of our sniper, because if we even try to move it up a little bit, it is moving to our driver, and we definitely don't want to take a driver to this hole. It was 9.2 rings, so we're going to move this way over here. I'm going to use a little bit of left curl and a little bit of overpower to overcome that push we're getting from the wind. You know, we're going to bounce, we're going to roll, and we're going to get there. So I'm pretty excited about that shot. You know, we almost got the hole-in-one on a very difficult shootout, in my opinion. But there you go. That's I think I used a Navigator, maybe. And we just took down a Titan in the shootout. So let's see if we can get a rematch. Okay, perfect. You know, I like this. I like when somebody's willing to go toe-to-toe with you all 3 games. It drives me nuts when somebody, you know, leaves the game, especially if they beat you. Like, let's just go again. You know, why not? We're both playing well. So this is a par 5. This is a par 5 that you're going to get a birdie on most of the time, just because of how long the par 5 is. Now we have straight tailwind here. So I don't want my ball, if I were to not use the rings and I just hit this shot, I'm going to roll into the rough, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to change this to 9.4 miles an hour, which gives me 5 rings to move my target. So get the wind blowing north. This outer edge of the white ring is 5 full rings adjustments. I'm just going to hit this thing as a normal shot, and we're going to lay up on the fairway. This hole, there's no reason for my opponent to bring this Titan back out, but I know he's going to because he used it the first 2 times. You know, he doesn't need the extra power that the Titan's going to give him. He doesn't need the wind resistance. He doesn't need the side spin at all for any part of this hole. He might as well just switch to a Marlin, a Navigator, a Quasar, and just play this hole the same way I'm going to play it, because we're both going to be laying up right here on the same spot of the fairway. Our second shot is going to be with a sniper, and we both have a sniper level 10. So yes, will he be able to hit his second shot further than me? Definitely. Is it going to get him to the green? Absolutely not. There is no way my opponent or I can get to the green on the second shot. It is going to be impossible. So best case scenario, one of us is going to have to hit a very good shot on our third shot on this hole to try to drop an eagle. It's more than likely not going to happen. So we're at full distance of our sniper because we can't move it up anymore. There's no elevation on this shot, so 8 miles an hour equals 7.9 rings. So we're just going to move this 7.9. Get the wind blowing north. 5, 6, 7.9. Okay, we pull it back. We use a little overpower to get some distance. We hit the ball perfect. There you go. The goal is try to get the ball to push past these trees, which we do. Our opponent is going to be in a similar area as us, probably a little bit further if he hits the ball perfect, because he does have that Titan. But again, this Titan is not going to help him win this hole by any regards, because we're going to be in the same area. And more than likely, we're going to be putting for a birdie, which is going to be going for a shootout. But I do feel that on my shot, I'm at a pretty good distance where I can try to dial in the eagle. See, like I said, he'd just be a little bit further than me. So a little bit of an easier shot to get to the pin. But, you know, no huge advantage because I'm going to be right here as well. So here's our Goliath. So, yeah, that's our thorn. We push up just a little bit, it changes to the Goliath. Now that lets us know that we're at minimum distance of our Goliath. So I'm going to get this shot kind of dialed in exactly where I want it to go. Yeah, I want it to fall right there. So now I'm going to use this, 6.6 miles an hour. This is different. We're going to use the bottom number, the 2.3, because we're at minimum distance of our Goliath. All right, so we don't want to over adjust. So there's 2.3. Now let's hit this baby perfect and see if we can bang one in. We did hit perfect. I like that. All right, so we just missed. No big deal. You know, again, I don't want to sound overconfident, but I don't think my opponent is going to make it either, because I haven't seen him really use any precise way of controlling the wind outside of just feel for the game. Now, he may make this. He more than likely will not. But it just makes it a lot harder for yourself when you're guessing on where to move that target. You see him, he's just kind of move it and inching it along with no real guideline of where to move it to. He hit the ball perfect. It was a close shot, but in the end, it doesn't go in. So we're in the same boat. This hole played out exactly the way I said it would. Didn't matter what kind of ball he used, I used. We're going for birdies, and we're going to another shootout. This is my opponent and I's third shootout in a row. So I've already got my app cleared out. I've got everything at zeros. We're just going to wait and see what shootout hole we get so I can tell you what the elevation is and what the strategy behind playing the hole is. All right, so this is a 20% elevation shot. This is a lot of water to go over. The ball will be more affected by the wind. We are at minimum distance of our sniper. You can't pull it back any further. Now this is a pretty heavy wind, so I'm going to use full right spin. And I'm going to use a lot of backspin, and I'm going to leave this ball just a little bit short of the pin there. And I'm actually going to add another 5% to this because this is a pretty strong wind. So we're going to use the bottom number, 9.3, because we're at minimum distance of our sniper. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.3. And I'm just going to try to hit this ball perfect and see where we come up at. Now, I normally play that hole 20%, but just because of how strong the wind was, I decided to go ahead and add an extra 5% just because of how hard it was blowing. And you'll see that really paid off because we just made a really good shot. Had I played that only 20%, then the ball would have pushed further to the left, and we'd probably be a couple yards away instead of within 1 yard. That's the one thing you have to know about the game is even though on paper, if you were to look this up on some other streamers' websites, this is a 20% elevation hole, and it is, but you have to know the feel of how hard your ball is going to push and know when to add a little bit more elevation so it makes you pull your target back a little bit further than you normally would. And my rule of thumb is I do that for any wind over 7.5 miles an hour. So if there's a 10% elevation shot and I have a 7.5 mile an hour wind, you'll notice I change that elevation to a 15%. It just makes me pull my trigger back a little bit more than normal. So, you know, we've had a shootout here that I almost got the hole-in-one on, 0.69 yards away. That was a good opponent. We beat him 2 out of 3 times. You know, he just used 3 Titans. And we have 2 more shots left to get to the pin. So I'm thinking we've played 4 holes right now. We've won 3 out of the 4 holes with 2 more to go. This is a fun hole. This is a hole where you can go left, you can go right. In order to go left and hop the sand, you need a driver that's going to give you 6.5 bars of top spin. Typically at minimum to give yourself a good drive, which I do have in my extra mile. Because I have the extra mile 8. So I do have the spin necessary to get there. So, you know, we'll go ahead and go for the shot. It is a lot safer to go right. Just for the sakes of having fun, let's just go ahead and do it. We got 7.5 miles an hour. I use a 10% elevation on this shot. So, you know, we want our ball to go there, but we don't want it to go to the left. So we're going to use a little bit of right curl to stay out of that left rough. So we're going to use right curl to stay out of the left rough. And you'll see that, you know, I should hop it over the sand, but I don't like the camera angle. Nope. But here's the good part about this hole is it does not matter. I'm in the rough. It's not a big deal. I'm easily going to get to the green in 2 shots. You know, my opponent here is using a katana, which is fine. Again, not a ball that I would ever use in a one-on-one play on Tour 8. I would save this for a tournament. I'm not even really a big fan of the katana. To be honest with you, I've got hundreds of them just lying in my golf bag. I don't really ever use this ball outside of some par 3s in a tournament. But to me right here, it doesn't even matter if my opponent hits a perfect ball and they're in the center of the fairway because this is a hard shot to get the eagle on the second attempt. So it's very unlikely that my opponent and I would both get the eagle and go to a shootout. It's more likely that we're both going to be going to a shootout because of the second shot is a little bit difficult. And we're both in the rough, but in the end, it doesn't matter. I'm going to use full backspin. I'm just going to let this ball, you know, sit on the green. I mean, heck, let's go for the drop and see what happens. 7.2 miles an hour. You know, we'll say we're still going downhill. You know, we'll adjust this thing. about 3 rings. In no way, shape, or form do I expect to make this shot, you know. If it was a tournament shot, you would definitely see me trying to get super precise. I'd be stretching out my club to see exactly what distance I'm at of the club because I would want to go for the drop. But as I'm recording this, I like to get to more shootouts so that people can see the Tour 8 shootout holes. You can see the elevation. You can see the strategy behind them. And, you know, I'll save going for some of the drops on more straightforward shots when I'm on the fairway. But I don't expect to make that one. From the beginning of this hole, I expect it to go to a shootout. And I'm about 95% sure that's exactly what's going to happen. I give him a 5% chance to make this shot here. Although the opponent does have good stats. You know, he's winning 56% of his games. That's actually exactly what I'm winning on this account as well. I do have other accounts in this clan that I made after this account. 2 accounts that I made after learning how to use the rings, and those accounts both have thousands of games played. One's at an 89% winning percentage, the other one's at a 79% winning percentage. Won some tournaments that I talked about earlier with those accounts. But here we go. You know, we're going to go to a shootout again. Love going to shootouts. I think it just helps you get better at the game the more that you do, and the more confident you get with some of the par 3s. So here we go. We're going to get all to zeros. I'm going to see what hole we have. I'll tell you what the elevation is. I'll tell you the strategy behind playing it. You know, we've come really close to a couple hole-in-ones. So we're definitely dialed in when we need to be dialed in. And if more people start to watch them and like to comment and want me to get dialed in the one-on-one play and not go for the shootouts, then I can definitely do that too. And here we go again with this hole. You know, they keep giving it to us. It's this stupid glitch. It's almost the exact same wind that we had last time, except it's going the opposite direction. You know, last time it was going right to left. This time we're going left to right. So, you know, we're going to leave it right there. I do fear that we're going to go past the hole. But again, 20%, 3.1 rings, or sorry, 3.1 miles an hour. We're going to move this 3.7 rings, which is right there. You know, I really wish they'd fix this ball guide on this hole. You know, at least we're hitting these things perfect in the shootouts. That's always a good gauge of whether or not you're on your game or not. This ball is going to roll pretty nicely towards the cup. So, you know, we left this one 2.5 yards away. I'll take it. It's going to be pretty difficult for our opponent to beat that. But we'll see how Boss does here. But hey guys, this is our clan. You know, if you're looking for a new clan, come join us. It's under Punish and Execute. There's several players in here, including myself, who used to play for competitive clans that were in the C100. You know, some people left the clan. Some people complained about the game being rigged. They just weren't that good. You know, the game's not rigged. You just have to learn how to be really good at the game. It's a video game just like anything else. Either you can beat the final boss or you can't. It's not because the game's rigged. It's either you're good at it or you're not. But this is our clan. We got some really cool people in the clan. You know, we have a lot of fun in the chat. We post shots. We help each other get better. We have some serious grinders, man. And we have some people who put up 10,000 points in a season. You have people like myself and a couple other guys, you know, who win tournaments. You got people playing Tours 10, Tour 11, high tours that can help you out. So come join us. There we go. We won another shootout hole. We are on absolute fire during these YouTube recordings. Let's go one more rematch because we just need one more ball in the hole to unlock the chest, and that's the goal. It doesn't look like this opponent wants to play. So let's go one more game. Let's go for another win, and we're going to call it a night. I won't be doing this again until the next tournament. I do plan on recording my tournament holes. I've won the past 3 tournaments, so we might as well go for one more and see if I can capture it on recording this time. So this hole is a weird hole. You know, I'm not a fan of this one. If we have tailwind, meaning the wind is blowing north like it is, we're just going to just let this ball rip down the right side of the fairway. Now, this hole is normally played with 20% elevation, but we're not going to need any of that because we got good wind here. You know, if we were using crosswind, then we want to kind of adjust our rings accordingly. Now, our opponent here is, I didn't see where he went, but I think he's going to lay up between the bunkers maybe. Oh, no, yeah, exactly. So this is a shot. This is a fun shot to go for your second shot because you can actually try to dial in an eagle here by rolling backwards into the cup. But I'm not going to go for that shot unless I were experiencing crosswind or headwind. But here, you know, I can just really just let this ball rip down and go for the green, you know, on my second shot. But more than likely, my opponent and I are going to be going to a shootout, and I don't know what I did there. My goodness, that was absolutely horrible. Not unlucky, just a bad shot. I must not have paid attention to what I was doing on my drive there. While my opponent and I are in bad situations, this is going to have to be a pretty good shot for him to get to the green. I'm going to need a miracle probably to get to the green. I'll have to see if the trees are in my way. I can't recall ever hitting the bunkers on this hole, so I'm not even sure what to expect, to be honest with you. Oh boy, he missed great left too, so that's going to be trouble. Talk about falling apart on the last hole of the stream here, but let's see if we can. Ooh, yeah, I think we can use some backspin here. And you know what? We're not even going to be cute, man. We are just going to try to get this ball on the green and make it stick. Hitting a good shot there, you know, it really cost me. That was a really difficult shot to get to the green. But I didn't do myself any favors by making such a bad shot. Well, either way, we're going to have mission accomplished, right? I don't think he's going to make this. I don't think I'm going to make mine. So we're going to get the ball in the hole, which is going to unlock that pin chest that was the whole point of making this video. And we're going to go to another shootout, which is good for the viewer because you get to see another shootout hole. You get to learn the elevation on it. You get to see me adjust the rings for the wind. And hopefully we pick up another win. So right now we've won 4 out of 5 so far on this particular stream. You know, let's see here. Yeah, let's see if we can't drop this. 7.4 miles an hour. You know, we're going to play this minimum distance of our sand wedge. And this is the one part about my game I need to do better at. The sand wedge, it has such a long range. I don't really know when I'm at this distance. Do I play it middle? Do I play it somewhere between middle and minimum? I don't know. I know I didn't hit a good shot, so I know it's not going in the hole. That's all that matters. But again, we're going to be heading to a shootout. We're going to see if we can win. You know, best case scenario, I've won 5 out of 6 during this recording. Worst case scenario, I've won 4 out of 6 during this recording. Here's what I do know. Even if I win 4 out of 6, that's still 66% of my games. And that means our coins are profitable. I did it all with using quasars and navigators, which are very cheap to buy with gems. You know, you get gems for free. If you do the pin chest like I'm doing right now every night, if you open up your free chest every 4 hours and you open up your gold chest, your platinum chest, and your silver chest that you get from playing holes, you get tons of gems on a daily basis, which makes it very cheap to buy marlins, quasars, and navigators, but way more expensive if you buy the other balls. Now, this is the hole that I was talking about earlier, the one hole that I hate. Here's what I know about it. It's a 15% elevation shot. We're shooting 15% downhill. and I know that I'm going to be at mid distance of my sniper. So whenever we go to adjust the rings, we're going to be using the second number, which we have not done yet. So I'm glad we got this hole. I just hate this hole. I don't know why I'm so bad at it. Now, I said that on my first recording, and then one of my clanmates, Tin Cupper, whose name is Luke, he made fun of me, telling me to shut up about how bad I am at the hole, because I ended up making 2 really good shots and winning it. And you see, my opponent is crying here because they think that they made a bad shot. Well, wait till they see mine, and then they're going to be probably smiling because they're probably going to get the win. You know, I do know that you got to use a lot of backspin, a lot of right spin to get this ball to stick onto the green. But 8.4 is the adjustment for the miles per hour. So we're going to need to move this 8.5 rings. So there's 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, and a half. I do need to use a little bit of right curl here to try to get to the pin. Now I hit perfect dead center. I'll take that. You know, the ball is going to roll nicely up here, and this, I just have to start doing this recording all the time because I kid you not, I don't know how I just did that. Or maybe I'm just getting better at the hole. Maybe I'll just have to admit I'm getting better. But, you know, we won. So, you know, we're going to take that all day. We just won 5 out of 6 holes. That's 83%. That's great for the coins. He wants to rematch again, so why not? You know, I'll do one more hole with you guys if you want to hang along and watch this one. I always like to do a rematch. Here we go. So we're going to do a par 4. Again, one of the newer courses in the game that just popped up probably about a month ago. I found this to be a pretty simple course outside of one of the other par 5, one of the longer par 5s on this course is pretty challenging. You do need to use a power 3 ball in a tournament for sure, but I won't use it in a one-on-one play. So you can go left, you can go right, it doesn't matter on this one. You could even drive your ball into the rough. It's not going to matter because more than likely you're not going to make your second shot at the hole. You're going to come close, you're going to be on the green. But I mean, you can even hit sand here and still be going to a shootout. This is not a dangerous hole whatsoever. So fairway, rough sand, you're more than likely taking your opponent to a shootout. So to me, it's all the same. Now, of course, we're going to try to land on the fairway so we can use our sniper on the second shot to try to get ourselves a drop. But it's such a difficult shot. Well, that's pretty cool. There's a Christmas present or something up there on the train. So we see our opponent use a lot of curl. Oh my, I've never seen that before. So we just picked up a win, you know. I'll tell you guys this. If your opponent ever goes out of bounds in the water, whatever the case may be, do not waste your ball. You know, whip out a basic ball. For sure. There is no reason to use any other ball here because now you have a one-shot advantage. So 10.7, we need to move this 5 rings. We're going to use left curl on the drive to try to stay out of the right rough. So it worked out for us. This next shot is 30% downhill. It's a huge elevation. You know, in these situations, basic ball. I mean, there's no point for me to use a navigator. There's no point for me to use any ball because on his second shot, he's going to be in the same area I am in on my first shot. Now, he's probably going to try to go just let it fly down that hill, but I don't see him making this shot. A lot of opponents try to do this, and you typically go sand or you get stuck in the rough. You know, but for him, kind of like I said, stuck in the rough. You see opponents do that all the time. It's just not worth it. Just lay up, you know. But 30% downhill on this shot, you know, that's max distance. There's minimal distance. So we're going to be at minimal distance of our sniper. You know, for the heck of it, let's go ahead and just try to end the game. So 11.2 miles per hour. Use the bottom number because minimum power. 10.9 rings. That's 10.9 right there. Let's see if we can hit perfect and get a basic ball drop. One step done, hitting perfect. Kind of like the camera angle here. Oh, we're so close. So there we go. Our opponent has to make this shot to force a shootout. I'm going to tell you right now, they are not going to make this shot. This is game over. So what do we do now? We went 7 games, right? We won 6 out of 7. Now we're talking about an 85% winning percentage. So we're just racking up coins. We're racking up wins. We're going to open that chest and see what happens. You know, it was a nice try for sure. You know, he tried to rebound. But, you know, the part is he just used 2 balls on this hole. Because, you know, he lost his first ball out of bounds. So he should have probably really switched to a basic ball so he didn't have to burn through another ball. Because if you're being realistic with yourself, you're probably not going to force a shootout if you hit the ball out of bounds on this hole. You know, your opponent's going to get the win. I'm going to go ahead and back out here. I'm going to open up that chest, and then I'm going to shut this bad boy down. See if we get anything good. And we didn't. You know, so, all right, I appreciate you.